Hi everyone, Sid Walker here. Today we are going to talk about why you need to want to prospect. Okay, sounds kind of obvious, but it needs some explanation. All right, so I've been a peak performance coach for over 35 years, over 5,000 clients, and my main focus at this point has been helping people overcome their sales call reluctance. I mean, I still do lots of other things, but that's my main promotional focus at this point. I have a free school, which is called Fearless Prospecting Group. Skool is Skool. And the fastest way to get to that website is fearlessprospecting.net. And that URL is also below. So go to the free school, click on join. There's a couple steps there. Be sure to click on the free stuff. You can download the first 30 pages of my Amazon bestseller on call reluctance. And the free school basically is a $1,000 course I created 2 years ago. It's 5.5 hours. And it's my latest and greatest material. So it's a heck of a deal. All right. And also, you can see all my websites and my books at sidwalker.com. Sid spelled S-I-D. So sidwalker.com. So check that out. All right, our topic today is why you need to want to prospect. Prospecting's been around forever. You know, prospecting's part of life no matter what you're doing. We live in a reality that requires us to constantly make choices that match what we want. Prospecting for what you want is common when you think about it. We prospect for food, riches like gold or oil, diamonds, you name it, a job, place to live, life partner, clients, customers, and lots more. It's part of life. So if you're in sales, unless you already have enough clients or have a lot of money to spend on advertising, you have to prospect for new clients or customers. And prospecting is critical because if you don't turn prospects into buyers, you're not going to make any money. Okay, we all know that. The challenge is that when you contact people about whatever you are offering, most people are not immediately interested unless your timing's perfect, which is totally out of your control. So you've got to get people interested in what you're doing typically. And so we also, because people tend to have kind of a knee-jerk no response, we have to deal with rejection or what some people call reluctance. All right. So fear of rejection is as old as the hills as well. In ancient times, if you got kicked out of the tribe 1,000 years ago in the jungle somewhere, you were doomed. Okay. You needed other people to survive. So we have a long history of needing to get along with people in order to survive. So that's where some of the call reluctance comes from, or the fear of rejection, basically. There's a part of us that's highly motivated to not rock the boat. Plus, we all have a part of the brain that guards our comfort zone. I call it the ego. If you're considering doing anything outside your comfort zone, your ego's going to have something to say about that. It doesn't like it. All right. And so if your ego thinks that prospecting is dangerous, which of course it is not, it will do anything to keep you from dialing the phone or whatever you're doing to prospect. Your ego thinks its job is to help you survive by avoiding risk, rejection, the unknown, just to name a few. There's a lot of things it doesn't like, and it takes. It basically thinks that this is a life and death mission. Your ego's on a life and death mission to keep you from getting outside your comfort zone. It thinks it's in charge of your survival, which it really isn't. That's another webinar. But in all actuality, your intuition is thousands of times smarter than your ego will ever be in terms of protecting you. I'll give you a quick story. I've got a client in a woman in New York, a financial advisor I've been working with, that got very high up in the Army. I don't remember what exact title was, but at any rate, we've talked about this a lot. She said that the first thing they teach you in basic training is if you're in a combat zone, you don't think, you trust your intuition. Your intuition will save your life. Your thinking is too slow. You're more likely to be in harm's way if you're thinking. So, sports is the same way. You can't play sports analytically. It's too slow. You have to use your intuition. So again, there's lots of examples in life where we can see the intuitive part of our brain can process millions of pieces of information per second. And part of our problem in life in general is we've been trained to use our intellect for everything, which is just the lowest, dumbest part of the brain. Go figure, right? All right. So I like to suggest to people that basically that whole idea that your ego's there to protect you and help you survive is insane. Okay, but we have to deal with that part of the brain because unfortunately we've made it the most powerful part of the brain. Yeah, think about that. So that leads us to our title today. Most people think of lots of reasons not to prospect, and that's going to make it hard. So one relatively simple thing you can do is to come up with reasons why you want to prospect. Okay, sounds obvious, and is easier to do than you think. People generally know that they need to prospect, but they often fall short of finding reasons why they would want to prospect. Okay, everybody's got lots of reasons why they don't want to. So you could say that finding reasons to prospect is a source of motivation. Okay, and motivation is a huge thing. Massive amounts of time, money, and training are spent on keeping salespeople motivated to prospect and promote solutions and make sales. So as a peak performance coach for decades, I've spent my whole career finding ways to motivate salespeople to do the things that they need to do or the things that take extra effort. Okay, for me, I like to say the three hardest things in life are prospecting, losing weight, and exercising. Okay, your ego doesn't want to do any of those, at least for most people. Some people figure out a way around that, but there's always some resistance there. Because your ego just wants to, one way to look at it is your ego wants to just keep doing whatever it's doing. Sometimes I like to say, I hate to go to bed and I hate to get up. Okay, that's your ego. All right, so I've written a lot about this in terms of how to overcome the influence of the ego related to prospecting. What we're going to talk about today is really more intellectual, and it's more on the focus of coming up with the motivation to prospect using reasons. Let's come up with reasons why you want to prospect. That's a more intellectual approach, which works. Interestingly, in my coaching practice for many decades and thousands of clients, I often ask clients, what motivates you? And most people will respond, I need to make money. Okay. So, of course. But otherwise, most people don't have much of an answer to that question. It's surprising. Some people have clear goals and visions, but many don't. Okay. Other than I have to make money. That's it. So we need to add to that equation. So let's talk about some sources of motivation. For some, they need or desire to, for some, the need or desire to make money is enough. Okay, I call those people the lucky ones because they're pretty motivated. Some have mouths to feed or a significant other to keep happy. Some of you want to build wealth or net worth, like have a real estate empire or give more money to charity or whatever it happens to be. Some people are motivated by competition and how they stack up with others. They'll do anything to be the leader of the pack. They've got to be better or the best. Some people are motivated by the fear of failure. Some of the wealthiest people I know are afraid to run out of money. Okay. They're not very happy, but they have a lot of money. And for some, the fear can be a regular job. Okay. In sales, you get used to kind of being your own boss to a great extent. And A lot of people, especially if they come from the corporate world and they've gotten into sales, are going, I don't want to go back to the corporate world. So anyway, that can be a very powerful motivator. And then by pressure, they'll put off prospecting as long as they can, and then when their back is against the wall, they'll get into action. Or maybe their sales manager will say, if you don't have get your prospecting numbers up, you're out of a job. Okay, that can be motivating. All right. So, and that describes me. I mean, I'm one of these guys. I've always been good on the phone, but I would put off prospecting no matter what, as long as possible. And then my back got against the wall, I'd get on the phone and get a bunch of business. And then it would be enough to cover me for 2 or 3 months, and then I'd coast until that was over, and then I'd have to get back on the phone again. So that's no way to live. But I talk to a lot of people. They do the same thing. So because if you have call reluctance, I mean, you can push yourself to make calls, but it's not something you're going to do every day. So I figure I still made a decent living, but from ages 25 to 45. I did not deal with my call reluctance, and I could have easily doubled my income if I'd made a few more calls every week. And I figure I lost out on $5 million, conservatively, $5 million. That's over 20 years. That adds up. It's amazing. At my age, I would love to have that money today. Okay. All right. Some people are motivated by providing a quality product or service, and some people are motivated by making the world a better place. I mean, that's great, or having a positive impact on people's lives. That's important to a lot of people. I hung around a monastery for 10 years in Southern California, run by women. That was fun, and I learned a lot. And including one of the most powerful motivations for prospecting for me was, and this is a one-liner, my job is to find the people God wants me to help. Whatever God is. My job is to find the people God wants me to help. That's a lot of people haven't thought of that, but that can be very powerful. And if we focus strictly on an intellectual level and not get into dealing with the ego, the bottom line here is you need to have reasons you want to prospect, okay, more than reasons not to. So I'm alluding to another whole category here of what I call warm-ups or reasons to prospect. And a warm-up basically is like a phrase or a short sentence designed to change how you think about prospecting. So ideally, these are going to be reasons why you want to make prospecting calls. All right, so here's some of my favorites. I'll give you a couple. I have 400 of these warm-ups on the Skool course. So check that out. It's under the classroom called warm-ups. I think it's a picture of a guy warming up to play pitcher, warming up for baseball. There's a photograph of that. So be sure to check that out, because usually I tell people, get 5, 10, 15 of those and memorize them. Say them several times a day, and then say them before you get on the phone for sure. So here's some examples. You can't dial the phone and not make money. Everybody's trying to figure out how to do it perfectly. That's a waste of time. The only way you can fail at prospecting is not to do it, basically. And if you push yourself to do it, you're going to get better at it. And of course, if you got the massive amount of material I have to help you get better at this, that's going to make it easy. And I call this mystical momentum. And again, in all my years of coaching thousands of people, I've never seen this not work. Anybody who gets on the phone on a regular basis is going to make money. Because something magical happens when you dial the phone. I like to say you're showing commitment to yourself and to your income and to your family and whatever else is important to you. And that commitment, when you dial the phone, moves molecules out there in the universe, and it pushes business in the door. Okay. I've never talked to anybody about this in my career that didn't instantly agree with me that's making phone calls all the time. Okay. If you're not making phone calls all the time, then you may not know that. But anyway, Mystical momentum. It's a powerful thing. There's no logical explanation for it. I mean, you can make stuff up, but it's hard to prove. Okay, other than the statistics of I have thousands of clients, and there's nobody that's making regular phone calls that's not making good money. I think in my career there were maybe 2 people that I told them to get out of sales. Okay. It just wasn't working. That's not very many. Two out of many thousands. All right. Another one of my most powerful warm-ups for me is dial, don't think. In other words, don't negatively judge. It's kind of the same. The corollary to that is don't negatively judge prospecting before, during, or after. Those are probably the 2 most powerful warm-ups for me. Dial, don't think. If I look at the phone, I am so programmed to, as soon as I look at the phone, my whole system instantly goes, do not think. Okay? No thoughts, especially no negative thoughts. Because if you don't have any negative thoughts, you don't have any call reluctance. Or you got to hold them away from you. There's all kinds of tricks for that in the course. Little mental tricks you can play to protect yourself from those negative thoughts. It's mostly things you just create in your mind to do it. So then I mentioned the other one, which is you can't judge prospecting ever, or you won't do it. In other words, if you say, I don't want to make these calls today, I don't want to hear another no today, I don't have the right phone language, I don't have the right leads, on and on and on. I mean, I'm in the wrong job, I'm selling the wrong product. I mean, your ego comes up with endless reasons not to prospect. Always will. That will never go away. So that's a lot of what I'm teaching in my courses. You have to learn to ignore negative thoughts. All right. One of the most powerful skills you can develop, by the way, I'd say in over 40 years of coaching, the 2 most powerful skills you can develop, one is to totally ignore all negative thoughts, total waste of time. And the other one is to realize that your intuition is thousands of times smarter than your intellect will ever be. We're born intuitive. You don't have to learn to be intuitive. We're born to do it. You got to become more aware of being intuitive because it's there. It's going all the time. But many people just learn, by the time we're 5 years old, we start to learn to ignore it. Because pretty much until we're teenagers, we're all intuitive. We don't really start to think much until we're in the, 11 or 12, 13 years old or something. Women get intuition, or women mature quicker than guys typically. But it's still there. I mean, guys have intuition just as much as women. It's just, it's a little harder to get to. But once you learn how to get to it, it's powerful stuff. And again, our whole system trains us basically to be dumb and slow. As a peak performance coach, I figured that out a long time ago, just for the reasons I just mentioned. All right. So let's see, what else do we got here? So I've given you a couple warm-ups. Again, get into the section, go to the school and get in the section of warm-ups. And, there's a lot of them there. A lot of them are spiritual. Those are very powerful as well if you're spiritually oriented. I call myself spiritual, not religious, even though I've studied several religions. 5,000-year-old Chinese philosophy was really probably my favorite. Amazing stuff. And what you realize when you go back 5,000 years, things that are actually written down, you realize there is nothing new. Okay, everything's been working the same way for thousands of years. Okay, all right. Which means you can overcome your call reluctance. Okay, I've helped lots of people do it, and you've got all you need to do it with the course. All right. So if you want to learn more about how to overcome your call reluctance, fear of self-promotion, another word, or even become fearless, go to the Fearless Prospecting School group and look at the classrooms. That's where all the videos are. There's 5.5 hours there. That's my $1,000 course that I made free last summer when I made it, put it on a Skool. And the quickest way to get there, I created another URL that's simpler than theirs. It's fearlessprospecting.net, and that's below. Fearlessprospecting.net, and then follow the prompts. And when you get signed up, there's a couple steps, just some basic information, and then you can get some free stuff too. That was just get your free PDF of the first 30 pages of my Amazon bestseller on overcoming call reluctance. I've got easily got the most popular book with the most testimonials. All right. And then also you can schedule a 15-minute quick startup strategy call with me once you join the school. It's not a sales call. It's just designed to help you kind of get started, make sure you got the resources that you need. I'm really good at helping people make more money very quickly and give them ideas on how to do that. So everybody's a little different. Everybody's got different challenges. So, all right. I think that's it. Thanks for joining us here today, and we will do this again soon. All right. See you.